So when I was a kid, I visited a Japanese imperial castle, and the builder-architect in ancient times sort of held a plumb bob and was off by a half a degree, and taking responsibility, he had the decency to kill himself.
The art of the elevator pitch has been lost, and we're here to bring it back. After 5 years and 3,000 pitches, we've developed a simple formula that anyone can build from. Who are you? What is your company? What problem do you solve? How do you solve it? Who's going to pay you money? What do you need? Nail that in 30 seconds and you're on your way. How will today's entrepreneur do? Pitch practice is now in session.
My name is Tal Moskowitz, and I founded Navonica for the problem of data integrity in basic science research. So when I was a kid, I visited a Japanese imperial castle, and the builder-architect in ancient times sort of held a plumb bob and was off by a half a degree, and taking responsibility, he had the decency to kill himself. Well, it turns out that that's not just an ancient way. A recent principal investigator in Japan did the same when fraud was detected in a team member's reporting of data for his publications. So what I'm working on is a software approach to investigating your working bibliography to identify other people's papers that may have been tweaked, spun, and repurposing of data results for the pharmaceutical industry so they don't embark on a project based on false assumptions. Right now I want to develop a more sophisticated visual pitch portrayal of the methodology, so I'm looking for someone who's very good in visual communications.
How long did you talk?
My aim was 45 seconds.
You got to 1:09.
Okay.
A few more practice runs you'll be there.
Thank you.
Now, let's break down today's pitch.
What is this young man's name?
Tal.
Tal. T-A-L.
Okay. Did he give a name of his company?
Something I caught it.
Yeah. You did.
Navonica.
Navonica.
Is
Okay.
that Navonica?
Yes.
Wow.
Cool name.
What's the problem that Navonica is trying to solve?
Incorrect. False data.
Data integrity in scientific hypothesis.
In scientific papers.
Preventing people investing in false data.
For pharmaceutical industry.
For pharmaceuticals, yes. Is that right?
Making sure that data isn't manipulated or kind of changed or altered in order to get a perspective is what I'm inquiring about.
I took it away, fraud in the pharmaceutical industry.
Fraud in biomedical research and the customers of pharmaceuticals that don't want to be had by wrong.
Okay, so good. So the biomedical researchers could falsify their data to make the money.
And what?
To make the money.
They're just trying to make reputation.
Okay.
But the pharma houses are trying to make the money.
Right.
And they can easily, they're the customer that would pay. The others just.
Got it. Okay.
I thought that was pretty morbid though. Like,
It was
it
very
distracted me.
Yeah,
a lot.
I honestly
Like,
thought of it. I'm like, that happens? That's a thing? Like,
Well,
I thought there were like laws against all that kind
I
of
was going
stuff.
to suggest somebody get them like
There is a culture of integrity against it, but there are I could go after the elevator pitch. There is a much longer development of what kinds of fraud issues have come up, and it's not always fraud. Sometimes it's well-intentioned misuse of statistics where they're not expert.
Okay. So how does he solve this problem?
A software? He's trying to create a software?
The data and finds. It's like a recall of automobiles almost.
Thank you. I've never thought of that one.
The recall was made and it might not have been updated in the current version. Something to that.
Does that work as an analogy for you, Chad?
It sort of strikes a completely different, but it is like a
recall.
A published journal article recall. Thank you. With the right of appeal. I mean, I don't just sort of assassinate.
Yeah, good.
Just,
you caution and then you contact. Because every paper now has a email address or a way of contacting the responsible author of a team of a research team. You can say what gives.
Okay.
I thought the ritual suicide thing was just a little too shocking in the sense of like I wasn't expecting it, so it took me a while. Like, I hear what
you thought you heard?
I heard.
What was
and then
shocking?
Processing it, and then that distracted me because your presentation kept going.
Uh-huh.
So I missed like a sentence or two, and I was like, oh.
Okay. See, that's why I lead it with the story of the castle, because that's the foreshadowing of today. To try and take
I went from 0 to 60 in like
So pause. After seppuku.
Yeah.
Pause. Let us.
Okay.
Pause and let us soak that in, and then say, finish the thing.
Okay, I'll pause after seppuku. I think most people after seppuku naturally pause.
Yes, they do. Who did you say his customer was?
Pharmaceutical.
Who are trying to hold the they're trying to hold them accountable.
Yeah, I
right?
guess what I should say is small research new product oriented pharmaceutical houses.
Okay. Good.
Pharma development.
And what did he ask for?
People are good with visual data.
Are you talking about visual data and like a sense of teaching?
Yeah, I want to come up with. I'm a word person, and I'm realizing it's a visual world. I want to be able to express a lot of the breakthrough for me is realizing that I don't have to
Create a natural language processing reader.
Mm-hmm.
It turns out that there's a very fruitful avenue in image analysis,
Mm-hmm.
which I was not
Like
expecting.
infographics, infographics.
Well, I want to use infographics, but the opportunity may be in looking at the pictures in an article, which was
Okay.
not what I expected. I was going to go after statistical statistical ineptness, and
Okay.
instead I'm going after pictures.
Okay.
All right. So how can we help Cal improve this pitch?
I would cut out some more of the technical, as complicated
Take that out.
parts. Maybe simplify it down. The whole Harry Carey of that it got my attention, but at the same time, I was trying to figure out how does this connect to what you're doing. I understand that what it's like.
Did you catch though that this modern principal investigator did the same?
Yeah, it's the same. Yeah, it's the same thing.
You
So
got that.
I did get that.
Okay.
But maybe make it a little bit more concise and maybe explain the problem to us because we're just the public. We're not pharma schools. We're not biomedical in this audience. So if you were to dumb it down in a when people do biomedical research. Maybe percentage, like a percentage of biomedical research is.
We do not know that percentage.
Right.
This is
well, it's like
discovery.
just say, or if there's, are there any known cases of this happening? Like,
yeah, that's what I want. That's what I want.
Right.
That's the known
so, like,
case
say Tylenol had a drug that this, but because this was happening, that's something we could all relate to. And
yeah, that's why I gave the instance of a recent case in Japan, and thank you.
Yeah.
I might recommend, I don't know if this is a rule or anything like that, but because you're already dealing with like biomedical and pharmaceuticals, I think or at least for me, I'll speak from personal experience, when I hear about that industry, it automatically sounds really, really smart to me. It sounds like a lot of stuff that I don't really understand, and so I think because of that, you mentioned that you're like a wordsmith, so I think when you take the biomedical and pharmaceuticals and things of that nature, and then you add really high-level language, which you're using on top of that, and then the addition of like Sipaku and like the other story, it makes it it's like
a step too much.
Yeah, it was very like deep. And I think at least for the purposes of maybe this audience or certain audiences, if you can take something like biomedical and then make it really simple for us, I think it would help you get your point across a lot more clearly. Because for me at least, when you said that, I was like, I'm going big pharma, which is like jargon that I keep hearing, and then I went fake news when you say people killing themselves, and then I'm like, okay, this is a lot. Okay. So I'm trying to piece it together, but it was a puzzle that wouldn't fit for me.
So that's why I want to aim towards
something with a TV screen to kind of be the quick grab, and that's why I'm looking for a visual person
I think to your point about that too, and like Kevin has said this in the past, I think that's a really great place to go, but particularly like if you're on an elevator, for example, for your 30-second pitch, you won't be able to get that visual out. So you just like have to be able to spit it out really quickly and simply.
Okay.
So, just my thoughts.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Seppuku's good, but tell one, not both.
But what?
Tell one.
Not both?
Not both.
Okay, so there's a bridge.
Yes, it's a very complex problem,
Yeah.
which means you have to simplify it even more.
Okay, thank you.